So the next video I'm going to analyze is called Jesus is Coming Back. These rapture signs will explain all.
Let's just read some scriptures about what's coming.
The future holds so many important things for us, and we as believers know that they are eventually going to happen one day. But what does the Bible say about them, and what's in it for us if we wish to take a lesson from it? Well, let's find out today.
Genesis 49, verse 1 and 2. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. First book of the Bible. And Jacob says, Now come here, sons, all 12 of them. I'm going to tell you the future. The Bible has always been a book of prophecy. You can't even go 3 chapters in the Bible without one of the greatest prophecies, and that's Genesis 3 and verse 15, the promised seed.
First want to point out that on this little board he has like the law and then a cross and then grace. Grace is code for Anna, and the cross is supposed to be the death and resurrection of Jesus. And well, Jesus was actually a fictional character who in a way is like me because he in some ways represents me. He's like a temporary name for me, so that people who wrote books about Christ would actually be talking about me. I was the real Christ who died and rose again on the 3rd day. So I was a Leo. I died in 2001 and then I was reborn on the 3rd day in 1987, which I know is a time travel, but I live outside time, so my soul can do that because I'm God. And so the point that we are at right now is actually at the cross section, but he focuses on sort of the next section. This is just an example of how he doesn't really know which stage we are at, because he thinks that Jesus was the Christ who died for everyone.
The Bible has always been a book of prophecy. Boy, is there a lot of lusts in the world today. Sinful, wicked lust. Not just sexual lust, although that's there, but it's all, oh, the new iPhone. Oh, I got to get the new iPhone. Oh, what's coming out? Oh, and it's all the new next thing that's coming out. I call that the Athenian spirit.
No, actually that's a worldly spirit, but it's also a good thing because it makes people want to live. You know, if people want to live to buy iPhones or to buy nice cars and nice houses and nice clothes, you know, this makes people want to live, and it gives people a good reason to want to be on earth, and therefore it makes them happier being on earth. Lust is actually also a really good feeling because it makes you want a partner, it makes you connect to bliss, and there's a lot of imagination in that, and it's a really good feeling. We are at the stage where Eve, the female Christ, is now on earth and is trying to get people to take knowledge, take this wisdom. People are going to expose me soon. If I'm going to be alive or dead or I don't know at this point, because I've been waiting 11 years and I no longer want to continue living because most people here rather just insult me than help me. But soon people will know of me and they'll have the option to take this knowledge or not. Right now it seems like you are spiritually not taking this knowledge because you don't want knowledge, you don't want to know the difference between truth and lies, and therefore you are confusing good things with being evil things, and you're confusing bad things with being good things. So you are at the stage where you are dumb, stupid, blind, and have not accepted Christ's truth, which is that I am Christ. The story of Eve is not a true story of the past, but rather it's another prophecy of the future, telling people that this female Christ is going to come and is going to give people knowledge so that they can tell the difference between good and evil. Lust is not an evil thing. Greed is evil, but greed and lust are two very different things. Lust is just an extreme desire to want something. You know, you can lust over a big barbecue and ribs and chips. You know, you can lust over something like that. You can also overeat and think that I can eat this 10 times a day and not care about all the animals that are going to suffer and die for me to overeat. You know, that is bad, but lust in itself is actually quite a good thing because it gives people a desire to want to stay on earth and to want to find a partner. I think the downside of lust is that it might encourage rapes or child paedophilia. There's a reason why it's called Megan's Law. So it's not all good, but mostly it's good. You just need to lust over the right things.
All about what's new.
The sermon starts with the reading of Genesis chapter 49, where he talks about what's going to happen in the final days. According to Robert Breaker, few would suppose that Genesis chapter 49 has much to say to the Christians of the 21st century. The prophecies contained in this text are related to the destiny of the descendants of Jacob. Jacob's sons, who were the recipients of these prophecies, would die in Egypt. Like their forefathers, they would not live to see the fulfillment of God's promises in their lifetime. Why, then, did God predict events which were beyond their lifetime?
Yeah, I'm God. I can answer this question. I did it because I hate the Bible. I hate the fictional stories of the past. Israel was not a man of God, nor was his sons. They were horrible, vicious murderers of the past who even tried to kill their own brother because they were jealous over him, who didn't know the truth, didn't know me, weren't worshipping me, didn't know anything about a goddess or that Christ was going to come being female. They were just average people of the past who had very little connection to me. But if you, however, love these stories and consider these stories to be the truth, and you are wanting to be like these people, it means you're mad. It means you're insane. It means you have no ability to connect with the truth about how much better this world is than it was in the past. And if you can't see all this, then I hope the prophecies about Christ helping you, I hope these prophecies happen after you die, because I don't want to help you. I don't want to help people that worship fictional stories that happened a hugely long time ago in a world that was shit and crap, whilst believing that the world back then was so much better. It wasn't. They didn't have God, they didn't have truth, they weren't nice men, they weren't nice people, ... That is why the prophecies were not about helping them.
We may be able to grant that these prophecies had meaning to those who first read them from the pen of Moses. After all, these were the descendants of Jacob who would begin to realize the prophecies of their forefather.
The communication was really bad in the past, so I think these stories actually have more meaning to the people that are alive on earth right now, because they can see what's happening in the world, they can see that a lot of people worship Christianity, and then they can fall into Christianity because of the large scale that it is being believed by. But yeah, back in the past, I don't really know like how many people really worshipped these stories or believed in these stories. It was just probably a small number back then. So I feel like you're talking about things of the past when really you should be referring them to nowadays. People worship Joseph just like people these days are worshipping Jesus, but Joseph was actually a kind of false Messiah, because the story says that he worked with the pharaohs to take the wealth off the land. He used this to build up like storage of crops so that if a famine happened, there would be plenty of food for the time of trouble. And then afterwards only gave the wealth out if people worshipped him and the pharaoh. So he wasn't really a good person. He was just someone who stole money off the land and said, now that we are in a famine, you have to rely on me to help you. Do you really want your savior to be someone like that? I think though the answer should be, if he's able to tell the difference between good and bad people, then yes, you should want a Messiah like that. And if he's not able to tell the difference, then you shouldn't want that, because the wrong people are going to die. But I feel like this is how the future is going to be. You know, there is a time of trouble heading just around the corner when people realise that actually Christ is a female and they've always been worshipping the wrong Christ. And well, when that happens, there's going to be a lot of people wanting help, because they're not going to like how the real Christ is actually calling them maddos, weirdos and insane people. But, you know, only the people that have saved up wealth or wisdom are going to be able to help the people that haven't. And while the people that haven't are going to be in trouble.
When Jacob finished charging his sons, he drew his feet into the bed and breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. The dying words of any man should not be taken lightly, much less those spoken by a patriarch and recorded under the superintendence of the Spirit of God.
This is all nonsense you're speaking, for how do you even know this person was a real person? How do you know that the Spirit of God really was on him? How do you really know that these were his last words? How do you really know they were properly recorded and they weren't just words made up 300-400 years later about a fictional character that might have been a real person? If you're claiming that Christianity is the truth, why? Why are you claiming that this is the truth? And don't just say it's because it is the truth, because you don't know that, and that is the truth.
Numerous signs suggest that Jacob's final remarks were carefully planned ahead of time. Jacob's statements were carefully planned and most likely rehearsed, and that's what Breaker is trying to tell us here.
And in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 1 through 5, we've read this so many times, but let's just read it again, because it has to do with the last days. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. That's the rapture, right?
No. This is talking about me, the people coming to me, not a person who's in the sky, but a person who's living on earth and is a real person. If, however, you rather reject Christ than reject me, then I really hope that you are believing in this magical person in the sky, because that is the best way to get rid of you, by telling you that the person that you seek is actually on the other side of death, and the only way to get there is to kill yourself.
You know what you hear nowadays? There's no rapture in the Bible. But we're seeing people turning away from the truth and scoffing. Oh, there's no rapture. You got to go through the tribulation. It says, now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and by our gathering together unto him. Now that would be the rapture. That you be not soon shaken in mind or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand.
Yep, see where that cross point is? That is where Christ comes and you enter into the age of grace. Grace meaning Anna. God is going to be selecting the best souls to go on to become gods, and I think in the long scale of things, that is what is actually referred to as a type of rapture, where God kills you by whatever means, but only does it when you are ready to go on to become a god. And I think usually she won't actually kill you, she'll just wait until you die of natural causes. And then you might find yourself leaving Earth's timeline and, entering some other world where you learn how to make timelines, or maybe just go straight into making timelines. I'm not too sure how it works. I know this age of grace is probably going to last a very long time, hopefully, providing people don't destroy Earth too fast. But yeah, I think you first need to get Christ's forgiveness, and that is going to take a fuck of a long time, because I will not forgive people for what they put me through. It will take a very, very long time for me to actually start forgiving people. We're talking thousands of years here.
The next thing Breaker highlights is the 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, where he also talks about pretty much the same thing as he did in Genesis chapter 49. According to him, there will be so many things happening in the final days. According to Breaker, in the opening of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, Paul explains why he is writing. The Thessalonians appear to have been disturbed by a teaching, supposedly Paul's. That's the day of the Lord has come, 2 Thessalonians 2:2. Paul not only refutes the teaching, but also reminds the Thessalonians of what he had previously taught them. The Lord's day has not yet arrived, and the believers in Christ eagerly anticipate all the future blessings.
Christianity always contradicts themselves. On one hand they say that Christ came and died and now everyone's forgiven. But on the other hand it's like, no, the Lord's day has not come, so Christ has not come, died and risen again for everyone's sins and not saved the world. It's like they say things and then say the opposite and then try and make out that, oh no, he's done one part of it and now we need to believe because of no reason whatsoever other than just faith and belief in something that can't be proven, and for some reason they think that means that they're deserving to be saved just because they believe in something that can't be proven. But yeah, I think a lot of the clips that he's taking is also the confusion between the day of the Lord and the day that the timeline ends. I can imagine that when the timeline ends, it will be when Earth starts to break up or these things happen. But yeah, because he's confusing the day of the Lord with the day of Christ, but because he believes that Christ was Jesus and came 2,000 years ago, he's getting a lot of things mixed up. I also want to point out that Lord actually just means landowner, and right now God does not own the land because God is me and I don't own the land. People don't know about me. I think spiritually they're connecting with me, but yeah, the day of the Lord is different to the day that God becomes the Lord. Right now God is not the Lord. Humans are the Lord because they are the ones who own the land and they are the ones who are controlling it by implementing these religions that don't make any sense. People think that there's truth behind it because so many people are spiritually believing it, and there is truth to that, but that doesn't mean that these religions are the truth. It just means that there's some truth in it, and there is. I like these religions because they are about Christ and I am Christ, so they are about me in ways, but I do not believe that these stories are true, nor do I believe that these people in the past were nice, nor am I on the side of the people who believe that these stories are the truth and that the Lord is actually God who owns the land right now, and that's not the truth. I am God, but I don't own the land right now because no one knows about me, so I'm not a Lord right now. If you would disagree with me, then ask yourself, why is it part of Islam's religion to kill Christians? Surely God had some implement in that too. If you're claiming that the Christian God is the true God because millions of people are worshipping it, well, why can't you say the same thing about Islam that actually also says to kill infidels or people who don't worship that religion? Okay, true, it's a bit of a contradiction because I prefer Christians, because Christians have Christ in their religion, and me being Christ means that the Christian religion is the religion that is closest to truth or closest to me, closest to accepting me. But I don't necessarily like them, hence don't care if Islam say to kill Christians, because neither are on my side. But if you think God is the Christian God, why would the Christian God allow such things to be in another religion? A religion that's also worshipped by billions of people.
Paul does not want to fear the Thessalonians. Rather, he wants to soothe them by assuring them of their future hope in the gospel. To do that, Paul proves that Christ's return, the day of the Lord, has yet to happen. There are, he says, certain things that must happen first. The rebellion must come first, and the man of lawlessness, that is, the son of destruction, must be revealed. 2 Thessalonians 2:3.
I would say that Jesus was the man of destruction because Jesus was the one who most people are fighting about. Islam does not believe that Jesus was Christ, and Christians do. And it's because of him that so many Christians have died and been persecuted. Religion is the best reason to go for war in the past. But it's true that if God was the one who allowed these two religions to be formed, then maybe she is the person of destruction. But at the end of the day, people believe what they want, and God cannot control people's thoughts, not control what they want to believe in or what they choose to do. God cannot control their actions. So you have two choices: to believe that God can control everyone's actions and beliefs and does control all these religions and set them up to persecute and fight each other, which would make God the bad one for doing all this. Or you can believe that actually people just reject God, don't want God, and therefore have created false religions, and God has just angled it so that they basically fight and war against each other to show how she actually hates both of them, because neither have the truth. As people go through reincarnation, they get smarter and smarter over time, so they get closer and closer to truth. The problem is, because the population gets bigger, a lot of the souls haven't had that many lives, and well, they seem to be confused and believe that the truth was somehow in the past amongst the people that were all stupid. This is how stupid people think. God cannot control how people think, because if someone is stupid, you can't make them smart magically. They have to become smart through wisdom, through time, and through experiences. Now, they can only get these experiences by being reincarnated over and over again, but unless they have been reincarnated over and over again, they're not even going to be able to believe in reincarnation, because they're going to look at a 2-year-old and think there's no way that that 2-year-old was an adult in their past life. God cannot control people's thoughts. People control their own thoughts. This is part of the design. This is part of the matrix. This is how things are. People get smarter over time. Animals get bigger over time. Souls get more connected to truth over time. But because new human souls are more stupid, they all believe stupid things. Hence why they are able to believe that Moses was some sort of magical blessed child, when really he was actually born to a mother who tried to kill him when he was first born. I mean, really, if you think that that's a chosen man of God, you don't know what God is, because God can control where souls go. If God really liked that person, he would not have given him to a mother that tried to kill him at birth. Although I have to admit there is some truth to it, because I am this mother figure, and my higher self has given me a bunch of kids that I hate, and I'm going to try and get my smarter kids to try and kill as many as my dumber kids as possible. So I guess there is some truth to it, but if you see yourself as being that Moses figure, well, I feel like it's a sign that you probably need to die and come back to life again later on in the timeline, where you will have another chance to be a chosen person of God. Maybe you'll get a better chance at having a better life next time.
He will be revealed in his time, Paul continues, though for the present something is restraining him. 2:6. But one day, he who now restrains the mystery of lawlessness will be removed. 2:7.
I have no idea why people are keeping me in restraints. I love the fact, though, how the figure that you've chosen to use in that image is actually a woman. You got something right.
Then the lawless one will be revealed, and the Lord Jesus will destroy him at his appearing with the breath of his mouth. 2:8.
I think Jesus mostly represents the average person, but it's true that Jesus also is supposed to be like a temporary name for Christ. So what this is saying is that the real Christ is going to destroy the fictional character Christ by setting up some sort of stunt where she destroys an image of Jesus, perhaps gives him a golden shower. That was my suggestion. And then I want to cut him up and just do horrible things to his image. But I'll only be doing it so that the average person wants to destroy me and wants to hurt me. I guess you can see it as me wanting to provoke them so that they would want to hurt me. I mean, technically, I'm just hurting something that's not being hurt because it's a fake statue. Now, if you would think that I deserve to be hurt because of me destroying this statue, then I feel like it just shows how bad you are as a person, because you would cause real hurt, real infliction on a real person over something that she has not caused on someone else, because she's only just attacking a statue, something that's not real, something that doesn't feel pain, but if you think that it's fine to inflict real pain on someone because of this, then it actually just shows what a terrible person you are for thinking this. I think that would be a really good way to start this tribulation off, because it will be a way of saying that Christ is here, or at least some people think that she's Christ, hence why lots of people have allowed this image and this scene to be publicized. Some people don't. Some people might think she's God. Some people might think that she's just a crazy woman. Some people might just be angry at the fact that some people believe that I'm Christ. I think most people would just be angry at the fact that I think I'm Christ and that people are going to support me. I think singers and celebrities are going to start saying that they're singing songs about me, but I don't necessarily know how much they are going to say. You know, if guys are writing songs about some sort of thing that's going to happen, I don't know. It's up to them what they say. I just want people's attention.
According to Breaker, Paul mentions 3 things that deserve a closer look. The underlying Greek word is apostasia, which we derive apostasy. Given the context of the entire chapter, apostasy accurately captures Paul's meaning. He is most likely seeing a future in which the visible church rejects God's word outright.
That too has 2 meanings, because some people think that the bride of Christ is the church, but it's actually me, and I'm going to reject the Bible because the Bible is not God's word, it's man's word, when they're trying to think what God's words are. You know, I'm God, and I completely reject the fact that this is God's word, so man will see it as me rejecting God because I reject the Bible, when really the Bible is not God's word. I am God. And I will encourage my people to also reject the Bible and say that this obviously is just fairy tales that has truth within, but it's not the truth. And it's not God. I think it's also interesting how a lot of people say that to deny the Bible is to blaspheme against God, when in reality, to accept the Bible and to say that this Bible is God's word is actually the true blasphemy against God, because the Bible is not God's word. It's books written by man that have, yes, been inspired by the Spirit, but everything has been inspired by the Spirit. It is not God. And to think that the Bible is God's word is to blaspheme against God.
The second thing is the man of lawlessness, 2 Thessalonians 2:3, also referred to as the son of destruction, 2:3, or the lawless one, 2:8 and 9. Paul is clear both that this person has yet to appear and that he is someone other than Satan, 2:9. A clue to his identity lies in verse 7, where Paul says the mystery of lawlessness is already at work. Lawlessness is common to both the man and the mystery.
I'm pretty sure you just contradicted yourself.
Paul is clear both that this person has yet to appear, already at work.
Anyway, I can explain. Jesus represents a few things. Yet to appear, because Jesus is a temporary name for Christ, and already at work, because technically people think that Jesus came in the past and that he's already been here and is working in the world. He still is, because people still believe in him and are trying to give power to him even though he's not a real person. But technically he represents the average person, so he is here, he is at work, because he represents the average person, and he's going to appear again when people realize that Jesus represents the average person. So if they want to get to know this Jesus character, they just need to get to know the average person.
2:3 and 7. But while the man of lawlessness is future, the mystery of lawlessness is present. So what does Paul mean by the mystery of lawlessness? In the Bible, the word mystery refers to something that God had formerly concealed but has now revealed. Paul is saying that God has made known to us, in his word, a present lawlessness that will come to climactic expression in the man of lawlessness.
When I'm exposed as Christ, there's going to be a lot of people coming up against me and saying that I'm not Christ. So this is when the people of Christ are going to have to make a choice, because there's going to be 2 Christs that they need to choose from, him or me. And this is when the rise of lawlessness will increase, because the Bible is not God's law, it's man's law, or whatever man could have accepted back then without ripping the books up. Sin is supposed to be against God, and it's saying that sin will increase, because when people get to see Christ for the first time, many will reject her. They won't accept her because they're worshipping Jesus, they're worshipping the false Christ. But people will see Anna as a fulfillment of the Antichrist being here. So many will turn to Christianity because they are far more tempted to believe in Jesus than Anna. And well, this is when kind of war is going to start between the two. I think the smart way to play it would be to make Christians be aware that this is only going to be a temporary thing, that Anna's probably going to die within 7 years, but they must let God handle this, and that Jesus is going to come back. But yeah, as they start to see more and more evidence that I am God, that I am Christ, they're going to start losing their mind, because they're going to realize that they've been worshipping the wrong thing the whole time. And if there have been a lot of people insulting me and saying negative things about me, they're going to be feeling like shit for doing that. Hence, they're going to be wanting to seek Jesus in heaven, in the clouds. But I do also need to stress the truth, which is that I can't control people. Therefore, if there's going to be lots of people wanting to kill me, I cannot control them. I don't know what the plan is, but I do know that A.J. Miller, I believe, is the real Jesus who inspired the Jesus from the Bible. Maybe he should rise at the same time with just some sort of gospel of peace and love. I do also believe that I did have a son when I was a cave woman a long time ago. Don't know if this guy wants to get involved, but he was the real son of God, and I don't see the harm in testing people by telling people this. But I do know that if he does tell people that he is the son of God, there's going to be a lot of people wanting him dead too, and I think his life would be far more in danger than mine because I'm a female, and males prefer to attack other males, and I guess females like to bitch about other females, but they're less likely to turn to violence.
Since the man of lawlessness will be active within the church, the temple of God 2:4, the present lawlessness is likely at work within the church as well, which is being described by Robert Breaker here.
2 Timothy chapter 3, look what it says. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. Does that sound like it's going to get better? Sounds like it's going to get worse. Perilous means dangerous. We are living in dangerous times. We really are. For men shall be lovers of their own selves. Oh boy, your selfies. Oh, look at me. People just, all they think about is themselves.
Yep, Jesus mostly represents the average person, people who die and rise again through reincarnation. So anyone who worships Jesus or sees Jesus as Lord and wants to give Jesus all their power, they're actually just people who are worshipping themselves. They recognize Jesus inside themselves because they see themselves as just an average person who was struggling, but at the same time also sees themselves as being sort of special or chosen by God. So they see Jesus as being them, and they think that this is proof that Jesus is Christ, but really it's not. They're just lovers of themselves and worshippers of themselves and wanting to give power to man and the average person, whilst pretending that they know that God is God the Father, when really God the Father just represents world leaders. So humans who try to give power to God the Father are really just giving power to world leaders, which okay isn't always a bad thing because they are the ones that have the power, because they have the money and they create the laws and stuff. But yeah, this is not giving power to God, this is giving power to man.
Covetous, what is that? Wanting what's not yours. You know, there's nothing wrong with wanting something, but if it belongs to someone else, that's wrong.
Up next, we have 2 Timothy chapter 3, which again talks about the end of times and what's coming ahead. The phrase, men will be lovers of themselves, is certainly characteristic of our present age, when men and women are encouraged to love themselves. People are told to love themselves unconditionally, and that such self-love is the foundation for a healthy human personality. At the time of Paul and Timothy, there were already people like this, because Paul tells Timothy to avoid such men as these.
You're understanding the Bible very wrongly. There's nothing wrong with loving yourself, that's a good thing. But there is something wrong with believing that you are Christ, or that you are like God when you don't even know who God is. There is something wrong with taking the Bible and assuming you know what God is thinking when you do not know what God is thinking, because that is not God's word. The insults in the Bible are aimed for the people who read and believe the Bible. People who love themselves might not tend to want to love Jesus because they see him as a man of the past who lived in a terrible world, hence they would be focusing on their own life. But this lovers of themselves is not talking about that, because that is a good thing. It's talking about the people who love Jesus whilst not realizing that actually Jesus just represents the average person, themselves. The Bible is aimed at people who can't tell the difference between good and wrong. So they would see being a lover of yourself a wrong thing, but they would see loving Jesus as a right thing, even though Jesus wasn't Christ, Jesus wasn't God, and they shouldn't love him because actually he was a man of the past who doesn't really tell you that much, because his ways were of the past. They were aimed for a society that was very different to today's society. You know, in today's society we have condoms, hence sex isn't that bad. But back then you didn't have it, hence you shouldn't have just gone and had sex with people because you'd get them pregnant and you wouldn't know who the child was if that person was sleeping with other people. But I have to admit that A.J. Miller does seem like a pretty good person, I guess. So I do encourage the idea of both of us rising together and people being given the option of not just 2 Christs, but 3 Christs, you know. A.J. Miller, the reincarnated Jesus, who just wants to lead people to God, whether that's me or not, that's up to him. You can have the female Christ, that's me, who might actually just be Babylon the Great, the person who's causing all the sin in the world. Or you can stick with the old Jesus, the guy who might have been God, probably wasn't. The man of mystery who you don't actually know and won't actually ever get to know because he died thousands of years ago.
So it has always been the case that this attitude has been in the world and has adversely influenced the church. But we can expect that as time passes, things will progress in cycles with increasing intensity until the final days of this age, when the Antichrist arises. And we can expect that the culture of the world will continue to influence those within the church. That is the reason Paul's teaching of 2 Timothy is applicable to every believer. We now find that a subset consisting of such men who exhibit this self-focused, pleasure-seeking lifestyle are those who could potentially be influencing or among the church in Ephesus where Timothy ministers.
This is why the Christian church will always be against itself, because there are so many Christians out there that don't focus on attacking and insulting other people, or they do, but they try to avoid it. A lot of their focus is actually on insulting people in the church. You know, you're not a real Christian, you don't really believe in Jesus, you don't really believe in all the same things that I believe, hence you're obviously of the devil and are just trying to recreate a false Christianity. You know, there's so many people who believe this.
The strategy for such men as these is to avoid them. That might include keeping them out of the church leadership in order to protect those within the flock and trying to minimize people's exposure to them.
The honest truth about the only way you can avoid these people are to avoid the church, because Christianity attracts these kind of people. It attracts people who don't know what they're talking about but love to preach about how they do know what they're talking about because they've read an old book. Now, the only way to avoid these people is to avoid the church altogether.